Kidoki.
Hey guys, Luigi here, welcome back to a brand new video today, and today is actually a very special video, as today we are going to be ranking every single non-Linkin Park song Chester Bennington has been a part of. So that includes songs from his side projects such as Grey Daze and Dead by Sunrise. Grey Daze isn't actually a side project, it was his band before Linkin Park, but you get the gist. And some of the songs he has featured on, such as Walking Dead, System, Cross Off, etc. Now it is worth mentioning that the day this video will be going out will actually be the 5th anniversary of when Chester Bennington passed away back in July 20th of 2017. And this right here is just my way of commemorating that again, as for those that remember last year, I went ahead and did a Linkin Park albums tier list, in the year before I did a top 25 Linkin Park songs video. And then 2019 I did a stream, and then 2018 I did the original version of the top 25 Linkin Park songs video. So yeah, I just wanted to briefly get that out of the way for those that are unaware and whatnot. I see no reason to really waste your guys' time any longer, so let's go ahead and get into the ranking. First and foremost though, I should go ahead and explain how the criteria for these videos work for those that are unfamiliar. S tier is what I consider to be the best of the best. A tier is what I consider to be really good. B is what I consider to be good. C is okay. D is pretty bad but not completely terrible. F is like the worst of the worst. And then no opinion is essentially just the songs I don't really have an opinion on. So yeah, with all of the explanations out of the way, let's get straight into it. Alright, so first and foremost here, I am just going to go ahead and throw Slow Your Roll, Home Sweet Home, and Rock and Roll Can Never Hip Hop Like This Part 2 into the no opinion category. My reason for doing this is simply because although I have heard these tracks once or twice over the years, although I think the hip hop one actually, although I think the rock and roll, God, that's a long title. But yeah, that song I've heard more than a few times over the years because I believe there's a part in it that is often labeled as Hardly Breathe when it's not actually a separate song. My main reason, apart from that, is just they're not really my style for the ones that I have heard more over the years. So yeah, that's all I'm going to say in regards to that. Now that we got the no opinion ones out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and toss every single Grey Daze track from their 1994 EP. I believe it was called Wake Me, into the C category. My main reason for doing this is simply because the production on these tracks is not good at all. Usually when it comes to songs that have like bad production, if it's not too bad, like Sins of Divine Mother for example doesn't really have the strongest production out there, but the songs still hold up regardless. Whereas with Grey Daze, I feel it's like all these tracks have been remade and also made better. Simply, I'm just going to put all of them in C, although I'm going to put sometimes in What's in the Eye to the top of C, simply because those songs are like really good just on their own. Hole is actually another one that can go up higher too, since it's also really good. Not to knock anyone that likes this album overall, but the production isn't really for me, and it's like trying to rank this is like trying to rank Zero. For those who don't know, Zero is what Linkin Park was called before Chester joined the band. It's like trying to rank that EP, which is probably worse if I'm being honest. But yeah, now that we got the easy picks out of the way, let's go ahead and get into the actual ranking. I should also bring this up right now that I have both the Phoenix and Dead by Sunrise album pulled up because I don't remember how each track sounds off the top of my head. I do remember a good chunk, but some of them slip my memory. That's just kind of that now, ain't it?
Well, I'll give you candy, give you diamonds, give you pills, I'll give you anything you want. $100 bill.
Alright, so first off here, we have the Anything Anything cover of, I forgot what band originally did this. I'll put it up on screen now for the YouTube viewers. I'm saying that like I'm streaming right now, which I'm not. Oh, my videos are something else, aren't they? Yeah, they certainly are. As for where I'm going to rank this overall, by the way, I have every single version of the Grey Daze tracks on here. So we got the Wake Me versions, we got the No Sun Today versions, we got the Amends and Phoenix versions. So yeah, just want to throw that out there for those that are confused. I was not kidding when I said this was going to be ranking every single Chester Bennington song, whether it was from a side project, original band, or collab. This video is kind of weirdly structured, so we're just going to go ahead and get this out of the way. Let's get back to the Anything Anything cover, which, fun fact, I didn't actually know this was a cover, so I went ahead and listened to the original, and don't know if anyone's going to get mad at me for this, but I think I like the Grey Daze version better. Both the No Sun Today and Phoenix versions. There's also a third version that was for a movie soundtrack, but I couldn't find a good image to like put in here, so I didn't include it. Not only that, but it sounds very similar to the Phoenix version anyway. Just a little faster tempo, but nothing like groundbreaking. So yeah, I think I'm going to go with the No Sun Today version. just slightly above the new version. But overall, I think they're both B tier, ultimately.
Hooray, hurrah! You think I'm stupid? Stay out of my way.
Alright, moving on. We have B12. I'm gonna go ahead and rank the original first. The original version of B12, the No Sun Today version, is actually pretty good. It's got more of that grunge, like I guess like punk kind of sound to it. That I think personally suits the track better, in my opinion. Not to say that the new version is bad or anything, just that this one I think works better overall. And I'm gonna get into this more once we get into the Amends and Phoenix rankings. Don't be surprised if a lot of the original versions of these songs, like No Sun Today versions, end up ranking above the remakes. B12 is definitely better than the cover. I've gone on my way to listen to it a few times. It's pretty good. Now, the Amends version, which is the remake for those unaware, because Amends is the remake album that Grey Daze released after Chester passed. And I'll give my opinions on Amends overall later, but just starting out here, this version of B12 isn't as good as the original, I wouldn't say. It's not terrible or anything, it's just, I feel like the vibe of the original is just a lot better, and while the redo is still pretty good overall, I don't know, it's more fucking industrial sound, doesn't really lead to it sounding as good as the original does. So yeah, I'm gonna rank the redo below the original, but they're both B tier in my opinion still, so yeah.
Would you believe me if you could see through my eyes? You'd see nothing but failure inside.
Alright, moving on to Believe Me. I have honestly no opinion on the original as for this one. The only thing I can really note is that this version, unlike the original, actually has a chorus, and the chorus is not sung by Chester. I think that's how I could tell immediately that the original didn't have a chorus, because there was no chorus by Chester in the original. I don't really have much of an opinion. It's fine. I'm gonna rank it in C tier, but the top of C, because it's not bad, it's just kind of forgettable, but still not bad overall. Moving on to Condemn. Condemn fucking slaps, dude. Condemned is like one of the most intense, like, non-Linkin Park songs Chester has been a part of. I fucking played the shit out of this for several months. Like, it was inside of me, My Suffering, and Condemned. I just played these. Oh, and Into You as well, but Into You is more of a softer track. But these three songs were like fucking punches to the gut, and I absolutely love them. I think I like Inside of Me and My Suffering better, which we'll get to that later. So I'll go ahead and throw Condemned as an easy A tier, however, because Condemned is great. That song is just fucking like, which was obviously intent, but bro, I love it.
I don't wanna be like them. I wanna crawl back in.
Moving on from that fireball, we have the first Dead by Sunruse song I ever heard, Crawl Back In. I believe this was the only one to get radio play too, though I never heard it on the radio, to be honest with you. Crawl Back In is B tier. Top of B. I don't have much else to say about it, honestly. I've heard it so many times over the years. I first heard it all the way back in 2017, along with Let Down. Both This and Let Down were the Dead by Sunruse songs I heard all the way back in 2017. So I kind of have overplayed them a little bit over the years, so they don't really hit as hard as they did before. But they're still really good, don't get me wrong. Crawl Back In is really good, which is why it's going in B tier, obviously.
So blacked out and hide behind the lines. Keep staring down the sun and off the...
Moving on from Dead by Sunrise, we have Cross Off, which was a collab between Chester and the guitarist for Lamb of God, I believe. Morton, I believe his name is. This song is great. This one's actually really good. I think this is another A tier. I like Condemned more overall, but Cross Off is sick as hell. Like, my god. Cross Off is very intense. Just intense vibe, intense guitar playing and stuff. I'm not a musician, by the way, so apologies, my terminology is not the greatest thing out there. So yeah, Cross Off, Absolute A tier. Man, is that a good song.
And you know how it feels to be some, to need some.
All right, moving on from that, we have the Down Syndrome, the original. I think we're getting another A tier. Yeah, we are, because Down Syndrome, I think I like better than Condemned and Cross Off. I just really like the vibe of this track. It's very, like, it's kind of slow, kind of ominous sounding, but the chorus is, like, really good. Like, honestly, I think out of all the Grey Daze stuff, the old Grey Daze stuff, I think the Down Syndrome probably has, like, if not my favorite chorus, like, definitely in the top 5 for sure. Like, it's really good. I also like the solo in this one, even if it's not a whole lot. So yeah, might move it up to S later, but as of right now, I'm gonna put the Down Syndrome in A tier. Very good track overall.
And you know how it feels.
And since I ranked the original, I might as well rank the Amends version. And if I'm being honest about the Amends version, I like it a fair amount. I think it's better than the B12 redo. However, there's one part of it I don't really think fits the song all that well. It's an intense breakdown before the final chorus of the song. I don't really think it fits all that well, but everything else I think is pretty good overall. Like the harmonic playing during the verses. Not my favorite thing, but I think it sounds pretty good still. The chorus, the way it's mixed, I still prefer the original, but I think it's really good too. But yeah, it's just that breakdown kind of drags the song down from being like in A tier to B tier. Not that it's bad, it's just doesn't really capture the same vibe that the original does. But in fairness, Amends is going for more of like a somber, like celebrating Chester's life type thing. And like showcasing his vocals as well, which I guess I can appreciate. But still, I prefer the original overall.
Shut up! Life is much too short to be intoxicated.
Alright, moving on to Drag. Just gotta throw it out here right now. Drag is the first S tier of the video. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say Drag, the original No Sun Today version, is my favorite song from Grey Daze. And honestly, it's even up there with some of my favorites from, like, Linkin Park. Like, I'm not even exaggerating when I say this. Like, Drag is sick as hell, dude. Oh, man. Just the overall vibe is cool. The chorus is amazing. Man, I love jamming out to that whenever I stream. The solo is great, too. I really like that part. The lyrics are good as well, though if it's Linkin Park related or Chester related, you know they're gonna be good. Unless it's something like Until It Breaks. That's one of the few duds. It's a very simple song overall, but I think it's like really good, and its simplicity really does work in its favor. It's just a nice listening. It's very intense, like energetic listening experience, in my opinion. Drag is currently the top of the list, though it might be surpassed later on. We'll see, we'll see. Fucking amazing song.
It's much too short to be intoxicated.
Now, the Phoenix version is... I'm gonna be real here. I am heavily biased towards the original, given it is my favorite song from Grey Daze. So I am heavily biased, and I was going into listening to this one when it came out, not expecting to like it more than the original. How could I? But even still... Do I think it's bad? No. Do I think it's good? No. It was a disappointment, to be honest. Not the worst thing I ever heard, but it was a disappointment. My main thing with this is just some of the ways the vocals are mixed in this redo don't really suit the track all that well. I don't really think the instrumental suits the track all that well, especially in comparison to the original, which is just like this driving force, wall of guitars type shit. And then you have this one, which is a lot more industrial in nature, which again doesn't really benefit the song in my opinion. This version also removes the solo, which I think is kick-ass in the original song. It just doesn't hit the same. For those that like this version, fair enough. I'm glad it exists, so I'm kind of shocked Drag overall didn't make it onto Amends, because like that's one of the most well-known Grey Daze songs. It's Drag, Sometimes, Soul Song. Those were the most well-known prior to Amends being announced. I'm kind of shocked it didn't make it on, but it made it onto the Phoenix, and although it's not my favorite version of the track, I'm glad at least new people got to hear the track for the first time, even if it's not the preferred version, in my opinion. But still, not terrible. Just not great either. A little disappointed, not gonna lie. Going back to more Dead by Sunrise, I have not heard this track in a while. Let me go ahead and refresh my memory real fast. Alright, so I just listened to this track briefly. It's decent. Yeah, I couldn't really recall how this one sounded, but after listening to it, it's decent. It's got a decent solo and stuff in it. Mixing is kind of weird at parts, but overall, it's not bad at all. I'd throw it to the bottom of B tier personally, but still, not a bad track overall. Not bad at all. I think I said that twice, but it's a Luigi on 50 video. You have to come to expect that at this point. Moving on to Fire. This is another one I haven't heard in a while, though I'll probably recognize it the second I turn it on, so let me listen to it real fast. Alright, so the second it kicked in, I instantly recognized it. Yeah, this is the one fucking Dead by Sunrise song I know so well, but I forgot the name of. This one is pretty good. It's definitely better than End of the World, in my opinion. It's got a really catchy chorus going for it. I like the verses as well. It's got kind of like a more cheery vibe to it, in my opinion, than a lot of the other tracks. So I'm definitely going to throw it in B tier. Probably throw it just above the Amends version of B12. I think that's fair. So yeah, good track. Good track. All right, another track I do not remember. Give me your name. How's this one sound again? Alright, back from listening to that. This one has a similar vibe to Into You. The chorus, anyway, has a similar vibe to that song. I don't think it's as good as Into You, but I'm definitely still going to throw in B tier. Listening to these Dead by Sunrise tracks, again, I'm realizing that a lot of the ones that I haven't heard in a while have very chill vibes. They're very nice to listen to. I should probably give the whole album a chance and maybe add it to my playlist, because right now I only have like 5 tracks from it in my playlist. I could probably do with adding more, to be honest. I'll probably throw it underneath Amends version of B12. Holding You, another track off of Wake Me. I don't remember what the Phoenix version sounds like, even though I listened to the Phoenix as soon as it came out, so give me a second. Again. Alright, I definitely remember this one. It's another B tier. I will say this, however, since I didn't really say anything about Wake Me aside from the mixing not being the best. Chester's voice to me on Wake Me has always sounded kind of off. Like, on No Sun Today, he sounds like himself, just kind of influenced a bit with a more grunge sound. But on Wake Me, he sounds even more influenced by that sound. So it always kind of threw me off when I was listening to these redone versions of those tracks, so they don't really hit me as hard. Yeah, I don't have a whole lot to say about it, but I'll go ahead and throw it just over End of the World. That sounds fair.
And I feel your heart beating, pounding in my head.
Now moving on to Hole, we're gonna rank the No Sun Today version first. I actually think both of them are pretty close together. They're both very good. I'll throw the original just under the original B12.
And I know what you want, and I know what you fear.
And I'll throw the Phoenix version close together. I think the original's still slightly better, but they're both very close together. I will say this about Hole. I'm honestly shocked that it also didn't make it on Amends. Drag and Hole are both 2 songs I thought would have been on Amends for sure, and I was kind of disappointed when they didn't make it on. But the fact that they made it on the Phoenix later on anyway, even if they aren't my favorite versions of the tracks out there, not mad. Still slightly prefer the original, but the redo, not bad at all. In the Darkness from Dead by Sunrise. I don't remember being a huge fan of this track, but let me listen to it again to make sure. I don't remember this opening. Okay, I don't think my opinion really changed on that track. It's probably my least favorite out of everything I've listened to so far. That beat is just really weird. I don't know what it is about it. It just throws me off. And the vocal performances aren't like the greatest thing ever either. So yeah, that's where I'm throwing that one. I'm not gonna throw in D tier. I don't think it's bad. There's another track I want to throw in there. But yeah, Overall, meh.
Tie high. Why must it fly so slow?
All right, moving on to End Time, I will rank the No Sun Today version first. This track is really good. Probably better than the original version of B12. I'm still going to put it under Callback In, though. I really like the more ominous feel of this track. It also has this breakdown section that's really sick, with really cool vocals, like really high vocals from Chester. Some screaming parts as well. And I really like the way it ends, just like, oh, oh. I think it's great. So yeah, that's where I'll put that one.
And everything told must come true. Pretending to be real, forgetting who you are.
Now, I don't know if this opinion is going to be controversial or not. The Amends version of End Time, in my opinion, completely misses the point of the original. Way too cheery. The vocals are unfitting, and it doesn't even have all of like the vocal parts of the original. It doesn't really hit the same. Like, let me show an example here. Here's the original. Let me get to the part. Yeah, this part. This part isn't even in the Amends version. Just listen to that. Now listen to the outro. So good. And now here's the redo. This part's okay. Yeah, this doesn't grab me. I get the point, but this doesn't grab me at all. No disrespect to anyone that actually likes this track, but in my opinion, completely misses the feel of the original and the purpose of the original as well. The ominous sound is gone. Some vocal parts are removed entirely. The intense feel, the somber closing, it's just not there. So it doesn't really hit me that well at all. I'm gonna throw this in D tier. I don't think it's completely terrible to throw into F, but it's definitely probably the weakest thing on here so far. Though again, it's just my opinion. Alright, moving on from what was probably my least favorite track from this lineup, on to probably my favorite. Inside of Me slaps so hard. I love this track so much. Like with Condemned, Inside of Me is just a punch to the gut in terms of its energy and stuff. Like, this song is pretty short, but man, does it do a lot in those like 2 minutes or whatever. It's just, the chorus is really fucking catchy. The vocals are really good. There's a lot of screaming bits here that I absolutely love. Like, it's just amazing, dude. I honestly think it's better than Drag, in my opinion. Inside of Me is probably going to be the top of the list overall. Man, I love it so much. I was listening to this with My Suffering, Condemned back to back to back to back for months. And man, did it just get me pumped up every single time I heard it. It's so damn good, dude. I don't know what else to say about it beyond that. It's like, it's easier to describe the tracks you don't like as much, but with the ones you do, it's a bit challenging.
Then I fall into you, and I fade away.
Maybe I'll be able to say more for this upcoming track, Into You, which is another track I absolutely love. I'm throwing it up to A tier as well. Between Condemned and Down Syndrome, I think Into You is going to the top of A right now. Again, just a really chill vibe. It's really cool. Really beautiful falsetto vocals, and then it just builds up to this like explosive chorus. That's just amazing. I would play a sample of it, but I'm not trying to make this video too long. Only going to play samples for the tracks that I haven't heard in a while. Into You is going to the top of A for now. Fantastic track. If not my second or third favorite by Dead by Sunrise, it's definitely in the top 5. For sure, for sure.
See myself as I am. Excuses are.
Just like Heroin. Alright, so aside from the chorus itself, I don't remember much about it. The original, though, I'm gonna go ahead and throw in probably just above Holding You. Not really my favorite track. The Amends version I have not heard in fucking forever.
Just excuse it.
Alright, so just from that sample, I do remember this song, by the way. I'm gonna go ahead and throw it above the original, to be honest. I actually think this one's pretty good. The original, for me, just has this kind of weird, ominous vibe to it that, although I like that type of vibe in certain songs, just this one doesn't really hit me the same. Boosting the intensity here was definitely a good idea. I definitely think it improved the track as a whole. So yeah, I'm definitely throwing a B tier. Really good.
I don't wanna be let down. I don't wanna live that life again. Don't wanna be let down the same old road.
Alright, moving on to a very legendary track. Let Down is an amazing song. Let Down is definitely an S tier track. Story about this one. When Chester first passed in 2017, there are quite a few tracks I listened to over and over and over again, or that I discovered around the time. Some of them include Easier to Run, leave out all the rest, obviously. But one of those tracks, one of the most pronounced tracks from that period for me, was Let Down. I've watched that music video over and over and over and over during that period. So that was probably the track that helped me cope with that situation the best. I owe a lot to this song. Actually released a cover for this song all the way back in 2019 when I was going through some really tough shit. It helped me get through that. Maybe not as much as I would have liked it to, but it definitely helped overall. Let Down is just one of those songs I listen to whenever I'm like not feeling good at all, and it always helps. So Let Down is definitely an S tier song. Not just that, just the song itself, like the vibe of it is really sick. It's kind of electronic, but it just has this really somber, like amazing feeling. Kind of gives me this feeling of like regret in a way, just the way it's sung. Chorus is really catchy and really probably one of my favorites. An amazing track overall. I don't know what more I could say about Let Down. It's just one of those songs that was there for me when I needed it the most. So I'll always be thankful for it for that. All right, moving on to Morei Sky. I hope I'm saying that correctly. This is another track from Wake Me. I have not heard the Amends version in forever. And after listening to it again, I forgot it was the track where the album's title came from. It's good. Don't know if I could say too much beyond that. It's got a very good message. And I get it. I can get behind it for sure. Would it land on my playlist? I don't think so. But I'll throw it just under the Amends version of B12. I think that's fair. Morning After. I know this song. I know I do, but I don't remember what it sounds like. I actually thought this was a Linkin Park demo. What did this sound like again? That came in fast. Okay, the groove of that track was fucking great. I forgot how great that one sounded. Honestly, that was so sick that I'm probably gonna throw that above Fire. That was fucking good, dude. Bro, I forgot all about how great that one was. Again, I thought it was a Linkin Park demo.
Kiss away all of my pain. You wash away these bloody stains. You are to blame, my suffering.
Alright, My Suffering is great, dude. It's not quite S tier, but it's definitely an A tier. I'm gonna throw it above Into You, in my opinion. My Suffering is just like an onslaught of like anger and energy that just like is so good. Really like the riffs in it. And the chorus in it is very bizarre, but it's also very intense. Very intense chorus, very intense lyrics. Definitely a good addition to my playlist when I did add it, for sure. Absolutely love that track.
Some say there's nowhere to go, and this is what I say.
Saturation. The original, this is going to be a rare occurrence, but I actually think the Phoenix version is better. But that's not to say the original is bad overall, and still, in fact, it's still very good. I'll throw it above Give Me Your Name. And then I'll throw the Phoenix version. If I'm being completely honest, the fucking Phoenix version slaps. It's going to A tier. The Phoenix overall didn't have many songs that I'd throw this high, but Saturation, like the redo of Saturation, I don't know what it is about that track that they didn't give to Drag or any of the other songs. This one was intense. Just the energy was off the charts. And I actually think the instrumental was better here for this song than the original. They managed to turn a song that was already good into something that was great. And I was honestly shocked by that the first time I heard it. It gave me a bit more hope for how the entire album was going to sound. And although the entire album wasn't terrible, it didn't sound nearly as good as this song. So there's that. Saturation slaps. Great song. Moving on, we have She Shines. All right, another good but not super memorable track. I'll throw it underneath Give Your Name. I think that's fair placement. Shouting Out, I believe, is another one that's like that. Yeah, I was pretty much on point with this one. I honestly don't remember how the Wake Me version sounds, but even this version, not really my thing. I'm gonna throw it underneath She Shines in B tier.
I need more. Can you help me feed my sin?
Alright, moving on to Sickness, both the original and the Amends version. I really don't have a strong opinion on either version. However, I will say that I think I like the redo better. I honestly don't understand why this one got as big as it did, considering Sometimes and What's in the Eye were the better tracks. For whatever reason, this one became the most popular track to come off of Amends. Again, it's not bad, but I'm gonna throw it above Give Me Your Name, and I'm gonna throw the original just under the Amends version. So there's that.
Sometimes things just seem to fall apart when you least expect them to.
Alright, Sometimes. Both the No Sun Today and Amends versions. I already threw the fucking original in C, obviously. The original Sometimes is great on its own. It's definitely an A tier track. But the Amends version is an S tier track. Sometimes was one of those rare occurrences like Saturation off of the Phoenix, where they managed to take one of the original songs, and which was already amazing on its own, and then just like make it even better somehow. Like the music video for this track was really good too. Like it was technically a lyric video, but it was like one of the band members or whatever trying to like talk to Chester through like a message app or something. He was just messaging the lyrics throughout the entire video as they were like scrolling through all of these different stuff going on and stuff. But yeah, Sometimes hits so hard, dude. It's such a great track. Probably even better than Let Down in my opinion. And that is not an easy feat by any means necessary, considering I love that song.
His melody opens up the sky. Freedom reign.
Alright, moving on to Soul Song, the original, and the No Sun Today version. This track was never really my favorite, just in general, but I get it. I get why people like it. I can't really dispute it getting A tier. The original I'm gonna throw in B tier. It's good, don't get me wrong. But I think the Amends version just like gives it a better vibe overall. So I'm gonna throw the original just over the original Saturation. I'm gonna throw the new version A tier. Again, it's not something that would necessarily make my playlist, but I can't dispute it going this high. It's really good, all things considered. And whenever I do hear it, it just is really great. It really blows me away every time I hear it. Fantastic track. All right, Spin. Another track off of Wake Me. All right, I definitely know this one. This one has a pretty decent chorus. The samples in the beginning are kind of weird, but I think it's more memorable than a lot of the tracks I have down here. So I'm going to throw it underneath to the original version of Saturation. Very good. Starting to Fly, which is another track off of Wake Me remade for the Phoenix. I'm gonna be honest about this one. I'm not a big fan of the How High Can You Go part that I believe is done by the drummer of the band, because that wasn't in the original track when I listened to it. I'm gonna throw this in C tier. It's probably my least favorite track off of the Phoenix. Not that it's terrible, it's just that How High Can You Go part repeats for a little too long, which makes it pretty repetitive overall, so I don't have like the strongest opinion on it.
Why won't you die?
Alright, moving on to a song I used to adore back in 2017 and 2018. We got System, which is a part of a movie soundtrack, and it was actually Chester doing vocals on what was supposed to be a Korn song. Yeah, it's great. The vocals are great on this track. I really like the lower growl vocals on the "Why is everything so fucking hard for me?" Yeah, that part. I really love that. And I just love the very eerie vibe of the track overall. I did overplay it a fuck ton, so I can't throw it. I'm not gonna throw it higher than B simply because... Actually, now I'm thinking about it, System is an A tier. I was gonna throw it lower because I overplayed the shit out of it, but now System's an A tier, for sure. Too Late. I remember this. That's a catchy track. Yeah, I remember that one for sure. Where I'm gonna throw it though, I'm gonna throw it just under Fire. Good track, very catchy track. That's all I can say is just, I like it. Alright, Wake Me, the Phoenix version, not the original version. I have one opinion on this track. Let me just play it for you so you understand what I'm saying. Yeah, you hear this? Yeah, you hear that? That's from In Time. Instead of having that part in Time, the Amends version, they throw it into this song. And I immediately heard that when I was listening to this fucking album. I heard that immediately. I was like, wait, that's from In Time. That sounds really out of place. So yeah, apart from that, good track. I'd throw it around the level of Spin, just under Spin, to be honest with you.
Wondering if I will ever see you again.
Alright, Walking Dead. The Walking Dead, Walking Dead, Walking Dead. This song's good. Very slow, ominous sounding, but I like it. The thing is, this track has actually been in my playlist since 2017. I remember my old streams used to get blocked for it for whatever fucking reason. It was weird. While a lot of these other tracks that I honestly would probably rank above it nowadays. Like, real talk, Walking Dead as a track would probably be ranked under just like Heroin, despite the fact that most of these tracks are not on my playlist, whereas Walking Dead is. So that's kind of conflicting itself, but I guess it is what it is. Walking Dead's a good track. Yeah. Alright, Walking in Circles. This one sounds like... Alright, so just got done listening to that. Another decent track, not my personal favorite, but yeah, I'm gonna be honest, I'm probably gonna throw this above End of the World, but not much higher. As you can see, we have 3 tracks left. 2 versions of What's in the Eye and Be Your Man from the Phoenix album.
I wanna be your man. If you think I can.
I'm gonna get that one out of the way first, because I don't have too much to say about it. It's a good ballad type track. I'll give it that. I'll probably throw it above Spin. It kind of had some decent energy from what I remember of it, so I'll throw it there.
Don't go too fast, my friend, or you'll lose control.
Alright, What's in the Eye, the first track I heard off of the Amends project. I think the original is inferior to the Amends version. I'll say that much. Now, where would I put it? I think it's better than both versions of The Sickness. Probably just under the original version of Saturation.
Don't go too fast, my friend, or you'll lose control.
The Amends version of What's in the Eye, this track's pretty damn good. It's in my playlist, so you know it's got to be good if it's in there. Joking aside, though, above both versions of Whole, just under the original B12. And there you have it. That is my ranking of every single Chester Bennington song that isn't Linkin Park related. So yeah, I really see no reason to sit here any longer. So instead, let's go ahead and run through this entire list in slow frickin' motion.
Yeah.
And I guess with that, that's gonna go ahead and do it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed. As always, like, comment, subscribe, and all that. Let me know in the comments below what you think of my ranking overall and what you would personally rank the songs as well. And I will see you in the next one. Goodbye, Luigi fans. 5 years, can you believe it?